Okay, in 12, is that correct? Good, thank you. Hello everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Threads. And today I'm doing video 4, and it's a continuation of video 3. And for those of you that have been following my videos, you will know that in video 3 I was talking about addictions, and of course some people that are struggling with addictions, and I mentioned the first names of the people, and I talked a little bit about Ben, and certainly there are some other fellas by the name of first name of Adam, Bradley, and Douglas. And so I just want to kind of continue on in regards to addictions. And certainly I want to say that this does not only apply to Ben, it applies to almost every addict that I've ever had as clients and worked with over the years. And that is that they themselves are the type of individual that certainly is lacking self-esteem, self-respect, dignity, self-confidence, and all those types of things. And yet, you know, contrary to what many people or some people will believe, these people are very intelligent. And I know with Ben is a very intelligent individual. He certainly has his profession, which is in music, and Ben is a wonderful music teacher. His students simply adored this guy when he was teaching them, and he would teach little young children and people of almost of all ages. And one of the things that still comes back to me yet when I think about Ben is that many times after he would finish teaching, they would phone him up in the evening, and they would be telling him such things and saying such things as thank you for being so patient with me, you were so wonderful, can't wait to see you again next week, are you coming back? And he was they just adored this guy. And yet for Ben, like I said, Ben is the true Ben, when he wasn't on drugs and so forth, is a very caring, compassionate individual. And that's the most hurting thing, is when you see someone like that be taken over, shall we say, by the influence of drugs. And it's actually pathetic, and it's very hurtful, especially for his family, and for all of us actually that love him so very much. And also certainly with regards to all of them really as a group, there seems like there's one overriding issue that seems to be so much, as I said, I think at the very beginning of this series of videos that I'm doing. I had mentioned the fact that there's always a trigger to addictions, and certainly with many that I have worked with, I've found that there's one of the main triggers seems to be that it is with self-identity. And so many of these people cannot, they know deep within their heart and soul who they are and what they are, and yet to accept that, sometimes they find it impossible, and they will not accept that. And so again, with self-identity, I mean, it comes down to one's sexuality. And so whether they are heterosexual, bisexual, gay, lesbians, whatever it may be, it's something that they really and truly have to accept themselves for what they are, not for what they want other people to believe that they are. And yet, if you talk to many of these people, which I have, the first thing they will say, well, you know, I can't tell my parents, I can't tell my family siblings, I can't tell the people that I work with, I can't tell any of the neighbors where I live in the community or whatever. And this is all nonsense, because I've said to them, you don't have to tell anyone. The only one that you have to tell is yourself. And if you can't do that, then there's a problem. So with many of these individuals, what they are doing is they are simply using the addiction as a mask. It's a shield that they hide behind. And they feel that that shield is going to protect them, whereby eventually their emotions really takes over and takes control. And again, just like with Ben, so many others I find are totally lacking courage, determination, and yes, I'll use the old-fashioned words, and that is guts, to really overcome their addiction. Because if they had the determination and guts to succeed to becoming drug-free, they would. And the other thing is, they're not really seeking professional help to overcome their addiction. And a lot of times that's because they refuse to accept responsibility for their own addiction and for the problems that they're having. And so many times, and certainly I found this with Ben, he would be, and he's inclined to, in other words, blame everyone else for whatever happens to him. And of course, there's the aspect of this constant lying, because those that are struggling and have addictions are, in other words, pathological liars, because they're lying in order to continue with their addiction. And so therefore, to really have a truthful and honest conversation with these people becomes almost impossible. And yet they will say, if you ask them why they are doing this, it was just like Adam, for instance. Adam was an alcoholic. He was a full-blown alcoholic at the age of 18. He got to the point that he was living out on the streets, and he would fall down drunk, and he would urinate his own clothes and so forth, until one day an elderly gentleman came along, started talking to him, took him to a shelter, then eventually took him out to restaurants and was buying him food and so forth, and was helping this young man. And finally Adam, of course, again was and is very intelligent, and Adam did want help in resolving his addiction to alcohol. So finally they got him into a treatment center, and of course, to make a long story short, Adam today is highly successful and travels the world, and has gone on with his life, and today he's a man that's well into his late 30s, almost 40, and is doing exceptionally well, and has never ever gone back to the world of alcohol, and his addiction now is not a problem for him whatsoever. But they're not all like Adam. And most addicts would say to you, well, they really don't care much for it. I mean, they just use it for something to do. It's recreational, and these substances is just kind of minor. But that's not really the case, because basically they like it, they adore it, they love it, and I would say they honor it and worship it. But it seems a shame to see so many of these people actually to be held captive by the drug world or the world of alcoholism and whatever else, and therefore they are being totally, if you will, controlled by it. Anyway, everyone, again, I'm going to carry this on into the next video, which will be video 5. And so anyway, in the meantime, everybody, I thank you for joining me today. Just another quick reminder that if you haven't yet picked up your copy of my book, Standing in the Shadows, The Light, which is available at Amazon.com, please be sure to do so. Anyway, everyone, take care, keep safe, and may God bless, and I'll see you soon.